this up because I'm not quite done. Now I got to introduce you to who I am and why I think I will be that auditor. I'll sum it up very simply. Wherever I've gone, with Judge Jones mentioned some of my travels, I've always been that guy from Cincinnati, Ohio, who loved talking about Cincinnati. In law school, I was elected most likely to be president of the Cincinnati Board of Tourism. All I did was talk about Cincinnati. I think they gave me that so I'd stop talking about Cincinnati. And then I'd argue with people when I said I was from Cincinnati. They'd say, "You're from the Midwest." The governor, I'd say, "No, I'm from Ohio. We stand apart, we stand alone." I'm very proud to be from Cincinnati, very proud to be from Ohio. But more seriously, as the judge alluded to, I'm also no stranger to tackling tough challenges and getting results, and I'm no stranger to fighting for families of my city and my county. In fact, that's why I entered politics in the first place. As the judge mentioned, in the year during and immediately after my clerkship for Judge Jones, our city was facing one of the most trying times in its history. Not ever having been involved in politics, but given my passion for my hometown, I decided to talk to the judge and others about it. I decided to run to do something about it. I thought I could help. I had no experience politically. My parents really weren't involved politically. But I learned quickly. I knocked on thousands of doors. I learned the ropes of campaigning on the fly, and I managed to win that first race. Now, when I entered City Hall, there was deep division and unrest, and people were leaving the city in large numbers. As the governor alluded to, we worked hard to turn things around. We worked in a bipartisan way, and we pushed through many hard-fought reforms. We cut the property tax rate every year. We put more police on the streets. We helped large and small businesses create jobs, and we pushed key projects forward. Now, because of the work of a lot of good people, Cincinnati is now seeing a momentum it has not seen in decades. I then became a commissioner in Hamilton County in 2007, following several years of leadership that had put ideology ahead of results and ahead of the common interest. When I got there, our new majority faced a squandered reserve fund, wasteful spending, bad relations with the state and city, and stagnant economic development. Since that time, once again, we've worked across party lines and worked hard to turn things around. We've eliminated millions of dollars in wasteful spending. We've cleaned up some of the poor practices and improved relations with all the governments that we need to partner with, whatever the party affiliation of those governments. We've let the sun shine into county operations, and we're doing everything we can to stimulate economic growth through our recovery strategy, even in this tough time. Now, related to the state auditor's role, in those jobs, I've consistently pushed for just the types of reforms and improvements that it will take to reduce costs and increase performance across Ohio. Over 7 balanced budgets, I've rooted out problems, cleaned up mismanagement, and held firm to ensure that government lives within its means in both good times and bad, and cost citizens as little as possible. And at both City Hall and the County Commission, I've fought for our families, whether it was preventing foreclosures, lowering prescription drug costs, or helping families make the most of what they earn or get connected to a job or good job training. From this experience, I feel like I'm ready to go to do the job of state auditor. But before I close, I want to say a word about one final critical issue, and the governor alluded to it. It's about independence. The independence that is essential to this office. I believe to do this job well and properly, Ohioans deserve an auditor who is independent. An auditor who resists the temptation, and this temptation is often very inviting in politics, to get into the daily partisan battles of Columbus, of Washington, or partisan battles across the state. Giving to that temptation, I believe, is the death knell of an effective auditor's office. You see, the auditor and his staff of hundreds of professionals works with numerous office holders at all levels. Many are Republican, many are Democrats. The exact makeup changes constantly. As I see it, whoever you're working with, the job is a combination of two things. Good faith partnership to forge improvements at all levels, and holding government and office holders accountable when there are problems. In some cases, that could mean working in close partnership with those in the other party from your own. In other cases, it will mean holding accountable those in your own party. And whether it's the governor or Democratic officials at all levels, responsible people in your own party would expect nothing less than that. But in the end, you call it as you see it, and you do what's best in the best interest of Ohioans and not other office holders. In this work, then, maintaining the independence, neutrality, and integrity of the auditor's findings and recommendations is absolutely essential to do the job. And this need for independence is far too important for the auditor to get mired in the mud of partisan politics at the State House, Washington, or anywhere else. So let me be clear. Under my watch, this office will not become a tool for partisan politics. Take the federal stimulus bill. Anyone who's remotely in touch with Ohioans know that people are hurting. The last thing state government leaders should do, and that Ohioans can afford, is to make things worse at an already painful time. As we speak, an economic recovery is in the balance. Our collective actions can make the difference if we recover soon, or if our citizens continue to feel the pain for months more or longer. It's an enormous responsibility we bear. Now, we all know the federal government passed legislation that helps governments, businesses, and citizens across Ohio get through the storm, to avoid more layoffs, or cuts to services, or tax or fee increases citizens can ill afford. The entire point is to prevent those from happening. It also makes funds available that allow communities across Ohio to make long-term, long-needed investments that allow us to compete in the long term while creating jobs right now. It's no secret that the current auditor refused to even support Ohio or its governments receiving stimulus funds. If followed, her path would have led to draconian cuts to services or tax increases, as we speak right now. And her path would have deprived communities the tools they need to compete for long-term economic opportunities at the same time that other states, Michigan, Kentucky, Indiana, among them, would be plowing ahead with those same dollars to invest in growth and compete for our own jobs and our own employers. As auditor, I would take a different tack. I would not let the partisan battles of Washington impact what is best for Ohio families. Instead, I would ensure that we maximize the benefit those investments can bring to Ohio families and communities, particularly those that are struggling. And of course, I will also ensure that those funds are spent as they are supposed to, as all taxpayer funds must be, and I would hold government accountable when they are not.